You are watching A Vision Media Broadcast, and I am your host, Tommy Slaughter. This is home of the golden era, and tonight we have an iconic superstar, Miss Bunny DeBarge. How are you? How you
I'm
doing?
good. How are you? Glad to be here too, Tammy.
I thank you for allowing this to happen, and I have to say this. Thank you, Sally B. Weiler, which is your publicist.
Right.
Yes. She has allowed this to go on. She wants to give her website, which is singingflat.com, and the name of her business, Vocals, Music, and Publishing. That's what it is. And I told her I was going to do that for her for setting this up for us. And that's
Great.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Shout out to Sally.
Viewers, Bunny DeBarge was the founder and member of the family group DeBarge. You are a singer, composer, and actress known for Moonlighting in 1985, Soul Food 1997, and DeBarge Rhythm of the Night 1985, I want to say, right?
Okay. Yes.
Can you take me back to the days of living in Detroit? How was that growing up there?
Well, being a biracial family, it was kind of hard us growing up in Detroit. My Detroit days, I'm not too fond of my early childhood in Detroit, but
Yeah,
we were a musical family. We were a musical family back then. So the fun times was the mom taking us to the radio stations and
okay.
church, going to the different young people's programs to sing as the little DeBarge children. I left there when I was like about
16 or
13, 14 years old. Yeah.
14. Okay. Yeah, and also, like I said, you have a lot of wonderful stories and books actually. Can you tell me how was it growing up with your brothers? Like just that whole were you all close, like very close?
Yes. The first five of us are not even a year apart. So, yes, very close. I'm the oldest of all of them.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that. But I am the eldest of the DeBarge clan.
The eldest.
There's eight
Wow.
brothers. L
Hmm.
is the fifth one. So the
Yeah.
first five of us aren't even a year apart. And then after Marty, who is the fifth child, L is the sixth child, and
Okay.
he's the first of the second five. And then they become like 2 years apart. She had a little breather there.
Wow. Okay. Two years apart.
But it
Wow.
was fun growing up with my brothers. Uh, I can remember us eating really fast to get second happens. We
Yeah.
were very musical. Mom
Hmm.
was very musical. She was always singing. So
Hmm.
we started at a very early age doing harmony parts. Thought
Wow.
everybody could sing.
Wow.
And I learned later on, I think after I got in the glee club at school,
Yeah.
that dealing with other people, everybody couldn't sing. So I saw it
And
was a gift, and I watched my mom, who could sing very well, uh, being
okay.
pregnant all the time, putting her hand on her stomach, praying that each of us had a voice and that we would use it for God. Yeah,
Wow. And you mentioned your mother. That's very interesting because your mother also, Etterlene, I want to say Etterlene,
you said it very well.
she was a gospel singer, correct?
Yes, I'm named after my mom, Tommy.
Yeah, you are. It's Bunny Etterlene DeBarge. Yes, yes. Yep.
Ederline Bunny.
Etterlene Bunny. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. But yeah, she definitely was she inspired, did she inspire you to go out and sing and do music?
Yes, she started us very young. And
Okay.
well, she started with me, I guess, being the youngest. I started out singing probably at
Yes.
5 years old. She went to the church. They were handing out little uh, poems to say at Christmas. And she
Hmm.
said, "Oh, my daughter won't be doing poems this year. She's going to sing." And I looked at her and she's like, "Yes, I'm going to teach you a song." So I
Yeah.
sung that year, and that was my first time singing. And she did with that with each of us kids once we got old enough to sing. You know, as soon as we were talking, now that I look at it, Mama had us singing. Yes.
Was it almost like this was something that you had to do? Basically, it was not force, but it was really how can I put this? It was not severe, but it was something that your mother wanted you to do, so she kept you at it
Yes, it
all
was
the time,
fun
all the
though. It
time.
was fun. It was not forced. It was something that we went
Enough for it.
aside and did on our own.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we loved it. It was like an outlet actually because we had a very abusive childhood with my dad. So
Yeah.
singing was something that we could do together
Hmm.
to get away from the things that were going on at home. We'd sing through the fan
Yeah.
and we make up little songs and little melodies, and our words weren't that great, but you know,
I
we did
understand.
we did our best. Yeah, it was fun to sing. We enjoyed singing.
Wow, that's wonderful because it's
And mom would
inspiring.
buy little records, like
Hmm.
our little childhood records, and they had stuff to do with the Lord and stuff like that. And we would learn those songs and learn harmonies and all that. So it was we were into it at a very early age, and we loved it. It wasn't anything forced. Well, when guys wanted to go around and play and stuff, I would say
Yeah.
I forced them. After Mama left, I would sit up there. Yeah, let's get our parts. But
Yeah.
me being the oldest, I had a little broomstick because they wouldn't want
Uh,
to sit still. They were so hyper. So yeah,
wow.
but they love to sing. Everybody loved to sing, and it paid off as we got older.
Yeah. It
Everybody went their own way and got their own instruments, you know, and I
is.
say their own way because they were like everybody was trying to establish their own little style, and
Yeah.
then later we brought it together, and that was the magic of DeBarge.
Wow. And definitely one more thing about, did you guys move to California or did you stay in, how long did you stay in Detroit before you moved to California? Grand Rapids when you was about 16, am I correct?
I was about 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
I was in the ninth grade when we went to Grand Rapids. I
Okay.
left I left Grand Rapids when I was like 23, 24, maybe
Okay.
25. Yeah, Elle was like 18. So,
Yeah. You
yeah.
also mentioned and I was going to get into this. You mentioned your father, who to me was like was the worst, by reading and understanding the things that happened. If you can just think about some moments where you and your father before this happened, y'all close, and why did he target you? And I guess your brothers, but were you close before this stuff happened?
Hmm. I don't know how to answer were we close. I think that
Like a bond, mother and father.
there was, yeah, we had a bond. That was
Yeah.
our dad. And my mother, I think, helped out with that, being raised in the church herself. My mom was very forgiving, always forgiving. It
Yeah.
was a day and time when we were still scared of white people. And uh, so my mom would always say, we don't like our daddy, but we love him. So mom taught us how to forgive and forget. And
Wow.
it may have been dysfunctional, but that's the way it was back then.
Yeah.
So there was a bond when uh, actually later on in life my dad got beat down from the things that he was doing,
Wow.
and
I'm
I
sure.
actually, that's in my book. I don't want to tell the whole story,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I can say that I love my dad, Tommy, and I think that all of us did.
Mhm.
He was our father, and I learned to hate him was to hate myself. So that was a big thing for me, uh, learning what dysfunctional love I did have, and the
Yeah.
dysfunctional love I did have for my father,
Uh-huh.
and to not like him was not to like myself. So I had to deal with all those different things, and here I am today.
That's right. Strong, strong, strong. And you mentioned forgiveness. One thing about forgiveness, what is hard for us to do, I think anyone. Um, have you actually, did you go to your father and tell him, I forgive you, for the hurt and the pain? And were you able to move on in life after that?
It was many years before I could move on in life. I actually forgave my father before my father asked for forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Wow.
Um,
Okay.
I started working on me and knowing that forgiveness, dealing with my forgiveness and what forgiveness was.
Yes.
And at an early age, our forgiveness was totally dysfunctional. Okay. And when I learned what forgiveness was and that it was imperative that I forgive
Mhm.
for myself, I
Okay.
did that.
First.
And God
Yes.
gave me a love for my father that I didn't even expect myself. I thought I
Right.
hated my father at first. And after I saw my father get beat up really bad, I ran to him and I begged him to stop beating my father.
Right.
So then I didn't understand it, And back in those days, we didn't vent. We didn't go on television shows or, go to counselors and really
Yeah.
talk about that
Mhm.
stuff. Your business was your business. You don't tell
Yeah.
your mom and dad's business.
Right.
And so that stuff was all inside. But as I grew up and started dealing with money, and it took many years
Hmm.
because the things I did know that were wrong weren't the ones that really helped me. It was the things that I didn't know, and dealing with God and God helping me to realize how to do it was when I forgave my father for me. As we went on, my father did, before he died, my father did say um,
Sorry.
that he was sorry. And that was a big thing to me. Even though I had forgiven him, to hear him say he was sorry meant so much to me. And
Yeah.
that's when I was able to tell him, Dad, I have forgiven you a long time ago. You need to forgive yourself. My father became my brother in the Lord, the same as with my mom. Okay, my sister in the Lord. Um, After I learned that God gave me the best mother and father that I could have. Okay,
Yes.
so I said, okay, well, I honor the position, and I learned that how to honor their position, and these things would set me free. I mean, I was on drugs for many years, and I'm sure everybody knows that. Um, but I had to deal with actually get out of the church and be delivered from the church and just get with God by myself, who I
Yeah.
knew. If it wasn't nobody, if it ain't the church denomination, all that, there is
That's
a
right.
God.
There is a
And
God. Right.
that's what helped me through. And that's why I know I'm here today. Okay. Because there's a lot of hurting people out there that have stories way worse than what DeBarge went through. Okay. And so I'm here today to say that I've been in a dark place and be a mirror to those that, are out there going through things and letting
Right.
them know that you can come through. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I got on drugs, and my drug problem was to actually um, dull that pain,
Yeah.
to dull the pain. Even though I was raised in church, the
Yeah.
church didn't know how to deal with me, to deal with um, being molested and stuff like that, or what, they didn't know how to deal with it. I'm sure people in church have been molested, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's like I had to really come to myself and say, I don't want to die like this. You know,
Right.
there's
Well.
God. I do believe in you,
Right.
and if you are who you say you are, come and see about me. So that helped me out a lot to, at the end,
Mhm.
um, love my dad, because to know to love him was to love myself.
And plus, it felt good carrying that, releasing that weight off of you because a lot of people still walk around with hate,
Yes.
hatred in their hearts. And
Yeah.
you
And
feel
that brings kind of
better.
all kinds of diseases
Yes,
and stuff that
yes,
happens to your body. You don't even realize. Yes. Because when
right.
I really, really started to become free and stuff, yeah, the things that I was going through mentally, physically, and everything came up off me as well. It's real.
Yeah, it is. And since you mentioned, it's like you're walking right through the questions that I would like to ask.
Oh,
And
let me
it's
slow down.
wonderful. No, 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 that's fine because now I can piggyback off of that. You mentioned drugs, drug use, also marijuana, prescription medication, um, and then you went to the cocaine. Um, now
Heroin.
heroin. Uh,
Yes.
now,
Both of them.
well, both. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
cocaine and heroin. And it just wanted to know, was this the time when you were touring, or did this happen after the abuse and things like that? Like, or was it just a mixture of everything when you started taking the drugs?
Um, I started doing drugs in high school.
Okay.
Actually smoking weed. That was the thing to do
That was first.
back then. Okay. That was it. It was like I was a flower child back in those days. You smoked weed and loved the one you was with.
That's right.
Um, you know, uh, Acid, taking acid, different things like that. Then I got back in church. I got out of the church and tried little things like that. It wasn't something that I was hooked on, but I was trying little things. I got hooked on drugs after I got with Motown Records, um, and started dealing with my adult life with the things that were happening in my childhood, and then trying to have a career. Um, it didn't all mix, okay? And then I had to take something to keep me up
Yeah.
and something to help me go to sleep and to deal with all the uh, peer stuff that was going on in the industry and all that. And it just became like, hey, give me something, okay? Started dealing there again with smoking weed and taking downers and something to help me, like I said, stay up
Like
the
a
next
coping
day, going
mechanism.
on the
Yeah.
airplane and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thinking, not ever thinking that I'm going to get hooked on it.
Yeah.
I think when I really, really became hooked on it, I had breast cancer. And from breast cancer, I still hadn't dealt with what was going on in my childhood or anything like that, and had a taste of it. And now I have breast cancer and had to have my breasts removed and all that stuff, and I have pain pills. So getting from the prescription drug and having that and just feeling good and numb and dealing with the stuff that I was going on,
Yeah.
as a child and in my adult life and with my marriage and with my brothers.
It was a
Um,
lot.
yeah, a whole lot, with the industry, group disbanding and all that stuff. I went looking for it. I went looking for it in the streets. And then again, having something to keep me down and numb, and then taking something, the cocaine to level it out. And I'm thinking, I'm a functional drug addict. I can do this. But
Yeah.
really, never thinking, oh, I'm hooked until I found out I'm hooked. I'm hooked to this. I need this. This is my best friend. And
Wow.
that's when I told the Lord, listen, I went to the church. I went in church, got in church. I pretend that everything was okay. Went to the drug programs and all this stuff, manipulated myself through that. Okay.
Yeah.
I learned to manipulate very well. So I would get up, like I said, say blessed and highly favored, but hadn't dealt with anything. But when I really, really saw that the people that I love the most, my family, my brothers, and how separated we was. My brother Bobby passed,
Mhm.
and how that separated us all. And all we had was one another when we were little, and all of a sudden everybody else was there for us, and we had just pushed one another aside. It was very sad to me, and so me being the oldest, um, I don't know if it's because I was the oldest, just being tired, okay,
That's
and
right.
wanting to do something. It still took me years, Tommy, to uh, get where I am today.
Yeah.
Okay. But I kept on. I kept on. I would get up, go back, get up, go back. The pain would be so bad, I'd go back. But I did plant a seed. And that's how in my book, I say in the beginning, I planted a seed that day. And I
Right.
asked God, if you are who you are, come and see about me. And from there, I had to be delivered from the church. I had to be delivered from being boy's mother. And it's just a whole lot of things that went on, that
That
I
time.
just kept the process going and kept believing in our Savior, God, just believing in Jesus, believing in the Lord, and getting in His Word, learning to how the dark places. Um, it's a spirit world. When you do drugs, you're in a spirit world.
That's
I'm
right.
getting deep,
That's
I
right.
know,
Yeah.
but you,
You're not
but
yourself.
it's
You're not
real.
yourself. Yeah. It's real. It's
It's real.
definitely real.
It's real. So I had to know that God is spirit, and that which one I had to pick a side, and I had to stand on that side, and I had to believe that I lived by grace, and that come out of condemnation and feeling that I didn't deserve it. I could never deserve it. And when I started really working on those things, and God began to talk to me and get in the spirit,
Right.
um, that's what what brought me out.
Wow, it's wonderful because your word will be so powerful and helpful for somebody else right now that can't get away from this.
Yeah,
They're struggling, they're trying, and they just can't do it. And you've mentioned
struggled for years.
also, yeah, for years, and you've mentioned also going to the rehab. You go in there, you leave it. It's like you're trying to kick the habit, but it's a struggle.
Right.
Um,
It's you're physically done, but
yeah,
mentally you have so much more to deal with,
that's right,
and it's like, forget it, forget it. And then if you don't have anywhere to go, you're just lost. So you got to really, really get into faith and believe, you know,
right,
that's what's going to get you through. You got to imagine yourself there. You got to see yourself there, you know,
right.
and that's even if you struggle and you fall, you get back up again. You just keep getting back up again. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And that's why he tell us, "Come to me." All those, when we have burdens and we have heavy lead, he want us to come to him because we can't do it on our own. He given us the blueprint. Come to me. You got to give it
And
all to him.
I will give you rest.
Rest. That's right. Yeah, you're right. Some people don't know that he's here. You just got to call him. Just cry out to him. You have to get on
He's
your
not
knees.
up there. He's inside of you. When you have accepted him, the Holy Spirit, I tell everybody, the Holy Spirit is the most important person in the world today. God, the Holy Spirit. And he lives inside
Yeah,
of us.
that's
And
right.
so that strength, when you go within and you start dealing within,
Mhm.
that's where that strength comes from. His
That's
strength
right.
is perfect when ours is gone.
Right. Right about that. You're right about that. Yep. And just the fact that you came together, you try to get everything fixed up with yourself, and you did. You was tired. You said, "Look, I'm tired. I want to quit." Was that the moment you wrote an autobiography at that time, right when you got your strength back? Did you write the
Yes.
autobiography then?
I started writing the autobiography when Bobby died. We said we were going to write it because I felt it would have been much healing and I needed to have last cries.
Wow.
Um, I was actually crying to my mom, it was very unfair. I didn't feel that at the time because it was something that she couldn't deal with herself. But I'm crying to my mom. I'm calling her mommy, and because I'm on drugs. So I started my book. Actually, I'm still addicted. I'm going back and forth on it, but as I'm doing it, I ask God to go with me. I said,
Yeah.
Lord, I don't even know where to begin, where to start. And that's how my first chapter starts out, that I'm coming back and I'm going to the places that I never was safe, and that was home. So to deal with home again, I needed God to go with me, to help me with those things that I did not know about. And those were the things that were enlightening, the things that I thought I had right, which was love. You couldn't tell me I didn't have love right. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't forgiving right. I thought I was this great person and I'm
Right.
forgiving and letting you right back in. And that wasn't what it was. And it took God, and it took
Yeah.
me to be ready. Okay.
Yeah.
And to trust nobody else but him. I got to where I couldn't trust nobody. I got to where I didn't trust
Yeah. You
anybody.
did get there. You definitely get
Yeah.
there to that point.
And I said, Lord, all I can trust is you.
It's
And
you.
you got
Yeah.
to be real to me. God knows He's the manufacturer. He's the one that made us, and there's nobody else like you. You
That's
know,
right.
so
That's right.
He knows if your conversation is yo, that's what He gonna speak to you, yo. Whatever your conversation is, He knows just what to say to you. He knows how to draw you. I didn't think God would talk to me in my addiction because that's what I was taught. You get away from, but He's married to us, and
Yeah. He's married to the
he
backside.
comes. That's when
Mhm.
he comes most of all.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
he was there for me, in those times, talking to me. um I'm hearing his voice. I'm hearing it through his word. I mean, it was a place where I couldn't even sleep. Okay. I mean, and in a dark place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't sleep, Tommy. And it was like, I had the leg syndrome, all this or whatever, and
Mhm.
having nightmares when I did go to sleep and all
Wow.
this. And then I remembered the Bible said, I will keep you in perfect peace
That's right.
if you keep your mind stayed on me. And so I said,
Right.
Lord, well, how do I keep my mind stayed on? I talk to him just like I'm talking to you. You know
You're
what I'm saying?
supposed to. You got
How
that's
do
your
I keep
relationship.
my mind
That's
stayed
your
on you? I don't know
relationship.
how to keep my mind stayed on you,
That's
you
right. That's your
know?
relationship.
And it
Yeah.
was bothering me just to hear preaching sometimes. That used to just bother me and stuff. And then I started saying back and forth to myself, I will keep you in perfect peace. I will keep you in perfect peace. My mind is stayed on him. My mind is stayed on him. And then I would go to sleep. And in my subconscious mind, I could hear, the word just getting in my spirit. Eventually, I
Mhm.
started having peace of mind.
That's right.
So
And then
I
you
put
have
on
to,
my Facebook page all the time, always remember Jesus. Always keep him on your mind
that's right.
because
That's
he's
right.
our peace. He's
And then
peace that surpasses all understanding.
that's right. You have to come to him for that peace.
You do. You
You have to
do.
come to him for that peace,
You have to know that he's peace.
Mhm. You know what's amazing? Sometimes when we go through things in life and carry so much, you don't look like what you've been through. It's like you can hold on to that and don't let the world see. You know what's going on with you, but when you go out in the world, you're kind of different. Like, how did you feel about that? Knowing you was in so much pain and around other people, did the pain kind of leave at that moment because you were around other people? How did you handle that moment?
No, the pain didn't leak. I tell you what, being on stage with my brothers was
Yeah,
heaven to me. Okay. I'm on stage with people that know me, that have been through the same thing that I've been through, and we are creating together. We're doing something constructive.
yeah,
Okay. We had got to the place where we were doing things destructive. We were worried about one another, but we're doing drugs together. Okay. When I got on stage and we got on stage, we were doing things constructive. It was beautiful writing the music together, everybody coming together,
yeah,
bringing their little part or bringing their song to the table, and us all making sure that everybody had a song. It was family at first. The
yeah.
industry kind of split that up where, no, that's my part. No, that's my part. No, that's my song. That's a, you know,
That's,
but the pain would cease when we were together on
wow,
stage.
that's wonderful.
Okay. And that was the magic. It was, I'm rooting for you. I'm your biggest fan. I knew that
Uh-huh.
my brother was my biggest fan, and
That's
he
right.
knew that I was his biggest fan. And
That's right.
so that was a good feeling. That took
Wonderful,
away the pain.
wonderful, wonderful. Also, can we just go back to the Pinnacle Awards in Philadelphia at the Pyramid Club? Are you familiar with that?
No.
The Pinnacle Awards, which you were honored, you honored those who suffer from drug abuse and living in foster care in the system, and you sang a little bit of a dream.
Oh,
Do you remember
was
that
it?
moment?
Yes, that was in Baltimore.
I thought it was in Philadelphia. It was in Baltimore. Did you ever come to Philadelphia at the Pyramid Club, the Pinnacle
I'm
at
not
the
sure.
Pinnacle?
I'm not sure. Was
Well,
it recorded, Tommy?
yeah, it was.
Yeah. I think
It
that's in Baltimore.
was Baltimore. Okay, maybe they had it wrong. It was
Was it for
Baltimore.
the drug um
Yeah,
it was a
it was
drug for children.
for children that was
Yeah.
in foster care and drug abuse.
Yes.
Okay, well, it
Yeah,
was
that was in
Baltimore, but they
Baltimore.
had it wrong.
Yeah.
Can you go back? Can you take me back to that moment of how did you get that phone call to be a part of that ceremony?
Um I believe I can't remember her name,
Okay,
but she was a friend of
okay.
mine's, that a fan that followed me on Facebook,
Oh wow.
and she knew of my history, um, and so she asked me would I like to come and be honored and talk to the children there. So that was very, very. Of course, I love to talk to children. I've never felt that I'm a motivational speaker. I've listened to motivational speakers,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm not a motivational speaker. But
yeah,
many people tell me, no, you are. And God has told me that He wants me to speak. He was going to change my voice. I'm like, I don't.
yeah.
What's happening? Is He going
Because
to
you have a
change it?
story.
I
You
thought
have
it
a
was
story to
going from
tell.
soprano to alto or what?
Yeah, you have
But
a
He
story
wants
to
me to
tell.
speak.
Yeah,
So I'm not very, very confident in my speaking,
yeah.
but that was a time when I'm saying, okay, this is time where I can go and I can really speak. This is what I want to do. I
Hmm.
want to be a mirror to the children. I want them to know what it was to be in the industry. I wanted to know them to know what it was to be on drugs and all that. So that was a very good moment for me. And I was looking for other avenues to happen from that. So yes, I
Wow.
enjoy that.
So that was wonderful. Yeah, because the song "A Dream," I know they really enjoyed that song because I saw them clapping. Everybody was clapping for you.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, "Dream." And
Most of the kids do because they're hearing it in the samples
in
today.
the samples. Yeah, you. Oh, listen, we have to talk. Well, I know we're going to get into it, and I'm not going to keep you long, but I want to know about all of this stuff. Just let me go back and finish this. You have a lot of credits. You done did things with rappers. I mean, you have some things going on. I don't know if people really know about this, but I had to dig deep and find some stuff. But also, writing in the beginning for you at a young age was ultimately led to your world debut as a songwriter for the famous R&B Switch. Now, you also written and produced songs also, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, since you were the only woman in the group, did you have to stand out more than the guys? Like, just put yourself out there a little harder, just work harder at the time.
Yeah. This is a man's world. And even though I was the oldest,
Yeah,
I believed in my brothers so much,
yeah.
that I was constantly pushing my brothers. Um,
Oh, okay.
Growing up, Bobby and I uh, made a bet who was going to play the piano first, and I really believed that I was going to play the piano first. Well,
Hmm.
it didn't work that way. Bobby wouldn't let me on the piano, so
Yeah.
he played the piano first. But I hear all that in my head, so I am able to produce.
Hmm.
But in coming into the music industry as a woman,
Yeah.
it's much different than coming in as a man,
Hmm.
and it was harder. It was harder.
And the record label, after seeing you guys together, was the record label kind of against each other? Like, okay, I want you to go solo, you do this. Because I don't know. I hear so many stories, some bad stories about record labels. I don't know. Did they try to split you up
Not
at
in
the
the
time?
beginning. In the beginning, they let us, hey, it was really, really great because, well, if you see on our very first album didn't go anywhere because they didn't push it. We got outside managers, but
Okay.
they were, and this was unheard of back then. They did let us do our own producing. The first album, me and Al produced together, me,
Hmm.
Al, and Bobby, um, and do our own songs. That was heard of with Motown, not unheard of with Motown.
Yeah,
Motown,
yeah,
you
yeah.
got inside writers, inside
Right,
producers,
right.
all that. But our sound was so different that Barry Gordy said, "Let them go." We didn't realize that Barry Gordy had not been in the company. He was the head of the company, but he hadn't worked with any of the artists since the Jackson Five.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
so he was interested in us and we didn't know it, you know. So when he came in the studio, we had already signed with outside managers, and that was an insult to Mr. Gordy. So they shelved our first album, which was a very good album. I had What's Your Name on it, Queen of My Heart. We
Yeah.
went back and got those songs and put them on on the other albums. But unfortunately, All This Love acted as our first album, not the DeBarges, and James had joined the group then. So they started actually, uh as you follow the albums, um the separation started with the album with the great big picture of Al, and then there's
Yeah.
four little pictures of us. That's the album where they kind of
Started to
started
make a
splitting
move.
us. Yeah,
Okay.
you would
Okay.
look up and Al would be on TV by himself, or they were taking him to parties, and yeah, separating us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the guys were getting jealous, of things that were happening.
Hmm.
Of things that were happening,
Hmm.
you know, why aren't we being called? Actually, when we did the Motown 25, things started happening. Then the next thing you know, they were doing remember they did the "We Are the World, We
Yeah.
Are the
Yeah.
Children," and they only
Yeah.
invited Al, and we didn't even know anything about it until the
Also, the
next
whole
day.
group didn't go. Wow. I
No.
just thought pictures of it.
So, things started happening like that, which caused animosity, among more so the brothers than me. Um, Take again, I'm older and I understand more the business than they do, and I'm
Yeah.
not a brother. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
there's not
yeah,
that jealousy that they have among all of my brothers are good looking guys. All of my brothers are very, very, very talented and
yeah.
big in their talent. DeBarge could have went solo. Each one of us could have went as a solo artist.
That's right.
James is great in his, and Mark is great in his, and Randy's great in his. They picked L because I think L was the keyboard player, and usually keyboard players back then are um, the music directors. Okay,
Okay, the
and
keyboard player.
they're the ones that bring it home. That you know,
Right.
but
That's right.
if they would have pushed James, if they would have pushed Marty, if they would have pushed any of them, okay, whoever they pushed, it would have been. I could have been. I did do a solo album.
Yeah,
Um,
you did. You did.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's it's on how they marketed it and how they wanted to put it out like that. But what it was is they didn't break up a group; they broke up a family. You know.
That's right.
Um,
Right.
so and we were young, didn't understand or whatever, and had problems as children. So it just went on and got more dysfunctional. And it's like, they said, well, Al was the one that wasn't on drugs. Al, no, Al got on drugs too. So
Yeah,
it didn't
yeah.
have anything to do with that. And then, here we are today. Um, which is my dream that we all come full circle. Everybody else says, I'm like, oh, you're new edition, and the different groups coming back together. I
Yeah.
think the Debarges should be able to come back and do it one more time. So I don't know. We'll see. It's a God thing, Tommy. It's a God thing,
It is a
and
God thing.
if that's to happen, it's to happen.
Wow. Can you share a significant event or experience from your childhood that influenced your career path?
Um. Okay. Well, actually, when I was a little girl, say about 14, 13, 14 years old, and I was singing church songs.
Yeah.
And the day that the words became real to me, um,
The church song?
I opened my eyes and I saw everyone standing up. I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
And I knew then this was for me. This is what I'm going to do in life.
Yeah.
And I knew, even though I wasn't really singing with my brothers, I was a solo artist back then.
Yeah.
Um, I knew that we were something special and
Hmm.
that we were going to be famous. So I think that was a awakening when I stood, opened my eyes, and I saw everyone standing, and how the words meant so much to me in my spirit, that it was something. It was a call upon my life.
Wow. When you mentioned famous at that time, how did you feel actually going out with your brothers and you couldn't really do much because a crowd probably will run up on you? What was that okay with you to like enjoying that all of that attention? Like, do you like attention like that?
It was scary. It was scary. At first, it was fun, because I feel that all of us felt we weren't accepted by the world because we were biracial, and we felt that um, the black people didn't think we were good enough, and the white people didn't think. I mean, the white people didn't think we were good enough, and the black people thought we were better. Thought we were better.
Yeah,
So
so you
we
fought
didn't
between.
fit in anywhere. All we had was one another. When
Mhm.
we went on our promotional tour, I think we saw that the world was accepting us. And that was such a good feeling to see they're hollering for us, they're screaming for us. They like us, because
Yeah.
for the first time, we felt apart, you know.
Wow.
Um, then when we went to St. Louis, I'll never forget that city. Uh, we were on stage and we were singing, lip syncing actually, and they
Yeah.
came through the barricade. They came through
Yeah.
the security guards and came
Wow.
up on stage. And they
Mhm.
were grabbing and they were pulling, and my dress was actually over my head, and I could hear them screaming, "Snatch your earring, do this!" And then my stockings were
Wow.
all tore up.
Wow.
And that's when I realized this is scary. This is scary. That was a scary
That
moment.
moment right there lets you know that it's scary, right?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. And then there were times when we were down south, there were threats on my life. I mean, actually, the women did not appreciate me being on stage with my brothers.
Wow. Wow. I know that was a scary time. You
Yeah,
know,
like these are my brothers.
yeah, I know that moment. Wow, because I being as though I go backstage a lot at concerts, and when I look at the crowd, it's like, woo, like I mean a bunch of people. Some people had their phones, their
Yeah.
lighters. Do you still get nervous when you step on stage and see that big crowd?
Not when I'm with my brothers, and I'm doing much better by myself.
Okay.
Um, Once I'm on stage, it's like they're way back from me. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh,
I get into a whole different mode,
okay.
and I just perform.
Okay.
Um,
So you block
it's
them out,
different when they're up close, but when they're way back, and sometimes you can't even see them. You know, you might see the little lights and stuff, but you can't see them personally.
just
So
the
I
ones in
just
the front.
close my, huh?
Yeah, just the ones in the front row, basically.
Yeah, I just close my eyes and do what I'm there for, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but before we get on stage, that's a whole nother different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
I
Now
get
before
butterflies.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Before you get on stage, you start the butterflies, right? Start to
I
come.
get butterflies. Then after the stage, afterwards, I'm okay.
Okay. Well, good. What sacrifices have you made throughout your career, throughout your music career, and do you regret anything?
I don't. What sacrifices have I made? Uh,
But some people may say, "Yeah, well, I wish I would have stayed home more or raised." I don't know.
yeah, I understand what you're saying. Um, I think I made sacrifices as far as putting it above everything.
Okay.
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 Probably my relationship with God. Um, I'm thinking God doesn't love me anymore because I'm singing devil music, and got out of the will of God. And
Uh-oh.
I was doing singing love songs, but that my perspective of it is that God is not with me anymore. Okay. So
Wow.
my relationship with God went up under that table with my where my Bible was, you know.
Wow.
So I wish that I would have started earlier, knowing that God was with me all the time. You know,
Right.
it's from what I know, from what I believe. He's a gentleman. He's not going to press himself on me. But once I gave in, is when I don't regret because it's made me who I am today. I
Wow.
am grateful that I am still alive. I am grateful that I am here. I know why I'm here. There was times I didn't know,
Yeah.
um, you people don't know your purpose or whatever. I know why I'm here today. And through all the fears and all the things that I went through, I know that I can just show up and because I'm just an instrument
Wow.
and that God will use me.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I hope
How
that
did
answered your question.
no? It does. It truly does. You broke it down. You broke it down. You know, and how do you define success and fulfillment in your personal life?
Success is knowing who Jesus is,
That's right.
knowing
That's right.
knowing who he is, knowing that I can't do it without him,
That's right.
and to totally submit myself to
Hmm.
knowing that he knows what's best for me.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want anything that he doesn't want me to have because I've been there, done that.
Hmm.
These aren't things. This is how isn't how I've always felt. Okay, um, I've done everything myself, and I'm grateful that I'm here to allow him to lead me because especially in this day and time the music industry is much different than it
Way
was back then, and people are selling their souls, sacrificing their loved ones for fame, and that's real, and I'm watching it and I'm saying, only what you do for Christ will last. This all is going to pass away,
that's
and
right.
one day, when you're younger, you think you're invincible and nothing's going to happen. But as you grow older and you
Right.
see and stuff, you start getting closer to what's real.
That's
what's
right.
real. And a lot of people out there, they want to hear what's real, and they want to hear it from somebody that's been through it.
Hmm.
So I've been through it. Um, and and I'm here to tell it, you know, here to
Right.
tell it. Only what you do for Christ will last.
That's right. That's what we talked about. To go to him, you ask. You ask, go to him, and that's well said. Also, that's well said. And I just want to go back a little bit when you mentioned selling your soul. Around the time when you guys were doing your records with the labels, I mean, with these the A&Rs, I won't say, were you ever presented something like that to make the group career go higher? Did they ever try to present something like that to you, to y'all?
No, it back in our day that wasn't happening, but it is today. It is today. It's real today. Um, I'm so glad that I had the foundation. If mom couldn't have did anything else, was show me who her God was. Okay, I
That's
have a
right.
chapter in my book called Mama's Bed,
I had
and
that.
I talk about being in Mama's bed. I learned how Mama went down through the abuse that she was going through. I hated it because I hated hearing Mommy cry. That just bugged me. I don't want to hear Mama cry. I don't want to be here in Mama's bed. But I also got to witness Mama getting on her knees and coming up with joy, you know.
Okay.
Um, that is what saved me in the industry, is knowing, always knowing that no matter what I went through or when my back was up against the wall, um, no matter how much drugs I was taking to numb myself and or whatever, I knew that I could say, Jesus.
That's right.
I knew
Wow.
the demons
Wow.
shake at that name.
That's right.
I knew that there was healing, that there was deliverance. If I couldn't say nothing else but Jesus.
Jesus.
And that is what saved me from a whole lot of things.
That's right.
Today, I believe that I'm the church. Okay. I'm not so much on the buildings. I'm not so much on speaking scriptures or titles or anything like that. I just believe in God. I believe Jesus is the way.
Right.
And
The only
that
way.
we have to go out and we be kingdom workers.
Mhm.
And so I feel that it is my obligation as a kingdom worker to even go to some of the people in the industry that I lost, because I've been there. You know, I've been there and I've been lost. Maybe not in the same way that they've been lost, but I was lost in drugs, you know. And I, like I, said earlier, that's a spirit world.
Yeah.
Getting all off into things. There's more that we don't see than what we see.
Well, the good thing about that is you actually you lift yourself up through Christ, and now you're back on your feet. You're not down and out, and you learning how to deal with that instead of going to drugs. You have a better coping mechanism, and that's staying with Christ. You're
That's right.
not going to the other side anymore. So that's a great thing.
Joy unspeakable.
And you still look like you're
Joy
about
unspeakable.
like 25, 26 years old. So that's a
Thank
good thing.
you. That's God. That's
Still have
God.
that look. Yeah, you're
Thank you,
right.
Tommy.
Welcome. Let's talk about the books that you have written. The Kept Ones, The Beginning, Father's Pain, The Fame Years, Honor Thy Father and Thy Mother, How I Landed When I Fell from Grace, which is wonderful. Which book was the most challenging to write?
Probably the first one.
The Kept Ones? Oh,
Yeah, the capped ones, the beginning years,
yeah, the beginning.
because it was where I was having last cries. I've never wrote a book before, never, ever.
Yeah,
I didn't even finish high school. Um, and here I am writing this book. So I just kept writing. It was the things, it was the beginnings of everything.
yeah,
So I think having last cries was my first book. Going back home, dealing with home, dealing with my childhood, dealing with the root
mhm,
of the things that were why I was the way I was in the fame years. Um, I'm just actually telling in the fame years what happened, you know.
mhm,
But in telling you what happened in my childhood, that was like uh, an awakening. That was enabling me to deal with my love, deal with the hate, the bitterness, the forgiveness, all that. So I had to take myself back there and actually go through that again. Um, the chapter of my father, the beatdown, the book.
Beat down.
I don't know if you've read my book, but the beatdown is a very good chapter, and it just flowed. Um, just came up out of me. The chapter of when my father actually molested me. I had to go back and do that chapter a couple of times because you know, um, it was just hard for me to write out what was going on. But after I did them and it was complete,
Mm-hmm.
I cried. The last cry came.
Right.
And some of them I thought were last cries and they weren't last cries. God had to take me back. But
Mm-hmm.
God began to deal with me on things. I mean, I'm telling you, it was very therapeutic. But I think the first book, answering your question, was the hardest.
That was a challenge for you, the first book. The kept
Mhm.
ones, yeah, the kept ones. And what's the next title to it?
It's a 3-book series,
Three
Tommy.
books. Yeah. So the kept
Yeah.
ones, and this is the
The
first
cap
one.
one's the beginning years,
Yeah, the
and
beginning.
then
Yeah.
the cap one, the fame years. Yeah. And the third one will be the summary of how God got me through all that. Because actually, what I'm telling is the stories of what
Uh-huh.
I went through.
Right.
The third book, I'm going to tell you how God brought me through it. How at the last cry, some of them I thought were last and they weren't, how God had to take me back. And I would get up to the line and look ahead and it was so scary looking ahead because I knew nothing ahead of me, but I was used to living everything behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm still not ready. I'm still not ready to go. So God would say, okay, we'll go back and we go back, but you got to let something go. And when you go through and you be, oh, I got it. You ain't telling you my book.
I was waiting. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Can you let the viewers know exactly where they can go at to purchase the books?
You can go to Amazon and purchase it, or you can get it from me from officialbunnydebarge.com.
The website.
And you can also, yeah, officialbunnydebarge.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Great. You was the lead vocalist on the R&B ballad "A Dream" from the
Yes.
group's "And a Special Way" album, and is also the co-writer of the group's 1982 breakthrough hit "I Like It," which
Yes.
everyone loves, right? And number one. When this happened, the breakout song, now money started coming. What were the group doing you before the hit came? Were you guys working at regular 9 to 5 jobs? And once the hit started coming, did you quit? Like how did that work out?
No, actually, Motown put us on salary. They were the only record company that did
Oh, okay,
that.
okay. Oh, you're on
Yeah,
salary.
so we had
Okay, okay.
salary. We had salary, and we were able to create, which I loved. I loved
Wow.
that about Motown. But the
Old
thing
time.
was, we
Yeah,
had to pay that money back. So
yeah. I'm sorry. Somebody out there beat the car's going on because I'm sorry, one second. Everything's gonna be edited out, so you can
okay.
still hear it a little. Someone's car alarm
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting right by the window. Wow. So, was that recoup? How do they say it? When they give you money that they borrow money?
Yes, and we were so fresh and green and didn't know that we was paying that money, paying
Oh,
that
so
money back for a long time. Oh, that's so nice
wow, 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 and didn't know it. You thought it was free. You know what was the
they're
first
being
thing?
nice to us.
Listen, I can imagine. What was the first thing you brought with your money? I mean, if you could think about it, what was the first big thing you brought with your check at that
Well,
time?
we were just living then. We owed all that money back. Okay. So I think that when my first check did come where I was free from paying them back and stuff, um, the IRS took it.
Wow. Then they hit you with it, huh?
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's like, we just now, um, I'll just say this: Debarges is has yet to be to recuperate what they really deserve.
Well, I tell you one thing. You all made a statement making those albums. You touched the world. And still to this
Yes.
day, I still play the music. So I
Well, thank
know,
you.
yeah, it's to this day. I love it. Love me in a special way. I like it. Rhythm of the Night. Yeah, I still play all the songs. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
yep, I know. How do you feel when you still hear your songs playing today? Like if you just going anywhere and you hear it playing?
I feel grateful. I feel honored.
Yeah.
I feel blessed. I also have a hope, saying that God kept us for this day for a reason, and
Mhm.
that this is all gonna come full circle.
That's right. That's right. There you go. And I know I have to get this out because also you have credits with rappers, right? You have wrote did you write lyrics or did you help them with the production? Like rappers like MVP by Big L, were you involved in that?
No, they
Okay.
actually just took the sample of the song.
So these are the songs that were sampled from your catalog.
Sample. Yeah,
Like,
Your Dream is probably the most sampled song,
like Tupac, I Ain't Mad at You.
right?
That's one. Blackstreet, Mary J. Blige, Mace, uh, Willie Max, Ashanti, all these people taking samples.
Yes.
Well, that's wonderful, because it keeps
With
the
my money.
yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. I was going to say that next. Wow, where your money? That's right. That's right. Where your money? Well,
That's all
so
right. God takes care of me.
oh wow, I thought you actually was receiving something from all of this.
Well, it's coming. It's coming.
Okay,
But
yeah,
I should receive it.
well, it will come. Who are your biggest artistic influences? Like, do you like anybody else? Do you really enjoy music today? Like, how do you feel about the music today overall?
Today's music, I'm not into. There's
Yeah.
some I like Jasmine Sullivan. I like singers. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody
Jasmine,
sounds alike today to me.
everybody. Wow.
And the music is right here. They're creative, I say, but there's no music like the '80s. I think the '80s, and I guess maybe because I'm prejudiced, I'm from there. But I
I
like the
know.
chord changes. I like the circle of the fifths and the storylines, the
Yeah. Yeah.
positive uh, storylines, the songs about love, not sex, love,
Love it.
leaving things to the imagination. Like the
Don't
first
jump right
time,
in it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do, you do, birds and bees do too.
That's right. That's right. Wow. It's like you never lose anything. When you start singing and you make these hit songs, you can go anywhere and still sound the same. I saw one clip. You sound almost like the record. You
Thank
was doing
you.
a cappella. I said,
Thank
wow,
you.
wow. How often did you go out and do I want to say jobs for people when they call you? Do you go to like weddings and things like that and
I
sing?
will.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, yes, yes. I did a wedding a couple of years ago. A fan called me and asked me would I come and sing at her wedding, and I said yeah. So she paid me, and I came. It was good.
Well, yeah, you pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come through. Yeah. And just something, just a little not deep, but how do you handle criticism and feedback in your profession?
Basically, I don't give it any attention.
Energy.
That's how I
Attention.
handle it. Um, because I feel, today's big thing, today's drug is attention. Okay.
Mhm.
People don't even know you or who you are to even criticize. I get a whole lot of people coming and trying to tell me, why are you doing this? Or you should do this. Or, you're this or you're that. I pay no attention to that
That's right.
because they don't know me. They don't know what I'm going through. They don't know what's going on. They don't know the real things. Things aren't always the way they seem. So why give them the attention to even let them to argue back with them? You know, um, that's not me.
Okay, so you don't even give energy. You don't even just give it no thought.
No,
Okay.
I did probably years ago. I would say something, what you mean, or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
today, no,
It's
I don't give them the energy. No,
it's pointless.
there's a joy that I have that they didn't give to me, Tommy.
Wow.
and they ain't taking it away.
Right. That's right. And that's
That
very,
joy is my strength,
it's
okay?
well protected. Well
That
protected,
joy
and that's
is
your strength.
that's
That's
my strength.
wow. What is the most valuable lesson you have learned throughout your career?
Ah, hmm. I already said only what you do for Christ will last.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to keep God first, to have direction, to have a foundation. That if you do stray away, that you can always come back to that foundation. To have a direction in what area you're going in, studying that, studying your weaknesses. That's what I kind of learned. I wish I would have done.
Well, that's well said. Just one last question. What advice would you give to an aspiring individual looking to pursue a career similar to yours, or just in the music industry?
Again, have direction, have foundation. Know only what you do for Christ will last. If you stray, know how to get out of it. There's a lot of dark places you can get to in this industry without even knowing it. Satan peeked into your book when you were a little girl, and actually, or that little a child, okay,
Mhm.
actually, that gift that you had came from God, and when you don't acknowledge that, it can go all kinds of different ways,
Right,
and it's not happiness. You want a joy that surpasses all understanding, that surpasses all that. Have direction, and the best direction you can get is being led by the Holy Spirit. And I'm not saying don't go because in your walk you gotta walk to even know, you know what I'm saying,
right,
where you're going, but you gotta have some type of direction, some type of way, someone that you can lean on, and
right.
pick a side at an early age, and
Hmm.
say, you know what, this is the side I'm on. There's certain things that I'm not gonna do, certain places I'm not gonna go,
Right.
certain, you know. So that's my advice.
I thank you. I
You're
thank
welcome.
you so much, Mother DeBarge. This was a pleasure, an honor for me. I thank you so much for coming on to the show. I
Thank
do.
you for having me.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Welcome. Is there
Okay.
anything you would like to say to just to your fans or?
I'm honored. Thank you so much for keeping our name out there, for recognizing me as a legend. I am honored. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.